Hello lovely family, welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are doing great. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. It's yet another mouth-watering recipe. Today I'll be sharing with you on how I achieved this famous egusi soup recipe, also known as melon soup. So stay tuned, stay glued, stay connected, and let's get started. Alright, for my protein of choice, I've got in here some already washed oxtail, some boneless stockfish, also known as okporoko. I have in here some beef foot, washed mackerel fish, and some shrimps. So feel free to use any protein of your choice. First, I'm going to start by slicing up our red onions. And at this point, I'm done cutting or slicing the onions. I'm going to add the proteins in a clean cooking pot, starting with the toughest proteins. Although I think the proteins have almost the same cooking time, except for the shrimps and mackerel fish, which I'm not going to be cooking together. When I'm done adding all the proteins, I'm going to go in with the red sliced onions, some bouillon powder, and a pinch of salt to taste. Alright lovelies, this is one of the things we YouTubers go through. I just want to officially announce to you all that at the process of filming this video, my precious life-saving pressure pot fell down and broke. Oh my gosh, I feel heartbroken. It's so painful, right? I know. Somebody should hold me right now. I honestly have to recover from the pain before editing this video. At first, I wanted to stop filming this particular video when it happened. But you know what has happened? Has happened. Like my people will say, ihe mere emela. It has no mekwata reason. After all the struggle, somebody will come and click on your video and give you thumbs down. You see? But you know what? We move. I know I'm not left out. So I'm just going to manage it and cook the proteins just like the way you have seen the pot, okay? So I'm going to cover it and allow the proteins to cook for at least 90%. While the proteins are cooking, here are some of our remaining ingredients. For those of you that are not African, this is the famous egusi seed, also known as melon seed, and this is what it looks like. And I have in here some edible tiny cocoyam, some spinach. I love bitter leaf in my egusi soup, but because I recently made bitter leaf soup, I decided to use spinach. And I have this non-cholesterol palm oil that I got from an African store. That is what is written on it. But sometimes I argue with my hubby that this is skimmed oil gotten from frying tomatoes. But anyways, I have in here some dry prawn, also known as crayfish, red bell pepper. You can substitute the red bell pepper for habanero pepper or any chili of your choice. One large red onion. All the detailed ingredients and measurements for this recipe can be found on the description box below. Please do well to check it out, okay? I've already washed the cocoyam. I'm just going to cut them into tiny chunks so that it can cook faster. But you can also choose to cook it just the way it is. I'm going to add it in a pot, add enough water, cover and allow the cocoyam to cook until it is very soft or tender. So this is one of the merits or advantage of using unblended egusi seed, because you can actually manipulate on it by washing it before using it. That way you'll be sure of what is entering or going inside your stomach. But with the blended one is a no. So I just went ahead and added the egusi in a bowl. I added some salt. I'm just going to wash it carefully just to get rid of all the unwanted particles. You know, this melon seed has really traveled 1 million miles away before reaching the final consumer. So I'm going to wash it carefully and properly until the water runs clear. I actually wash this melon seed like 4 to 5 times. So yeah. After washing the melon seed, I went ahead and blended them. I'm so sorry, I don't really know what happened. It's like I lost the clips where I was blending all this, but it did not miss anything, okay? Just throw them in your blender and blend until they are very smooth. So like I said, I blended the melon seed, the dry crayfish, also known as dry prawn. I blended the bell pepper alongside with the red onions, and I also blended the cocoyams. So at this point, the proteins are out from the pressure pot. I've already gone ahead to transfer them inside our cooking pot. I went ahead and added just a glass of water because the stock will not be enough to cook the quantity of soup that I'm making. I'm going to add the cocoyam paste at this point. Please bear in mind the quantity of cocoyam that goes into your pot is totally up to you. So when I'm done adding it, I'm going to cover the lid and allow to cook for 7 to 10 minutes just to make sure that the cocoyam pastes are well dissolved. After 10 minutes of cooking, I'm going to go in with my blended bell peppers and onions. I'm going to add some oil. So I'm going to cover it and allow to cook or boil for extra 5 minutes. If you have been following me for a while, you will know that I don't fancy oily food. I always try to control the amount of oil that goes into our system. And remember, oyster contains fat. Melon seed or egusi seed also contains fat. So you have to control the amount of oil that goes into your pot or your system, unless you are a fan of often mano like oily soup, okay? Alright lovelies, at this point our soup is beginning to form shape or form base, as you can see. So at this point I'm going to start by scoping the melon. So if you want this melon to form lumps, don't stir it immediately. Just cover it and allow to cook for 7 to 12 minutes on a low heat to avoid getting burnt. And if you don't want it to form lumps, you can just go ahead and stir immediately. But even after forming lumps, you can also go ahead and use the back of your spoon or your spatula to break it apart. So I'm going to cover it and allow to boil for 7 to 12 minutes. I'm going to add some grounded crayfish. There's this unique taste about adding crayfish to African soup, like it's a game changer. Add as much as you can. Trust me, you will be glad you do. The taste, the flavor will wow you. So I'm just going to give it a good stir. I tested and I needed some seasoning. I'm going to be adding some. I'm just going to go in with my mackerel fish and shrimp so that all the delicious goodness in that pot will soak up inside the mackerel fish, and the mackerel fish will soak up all the delicious goodness in the pot as well. So I'm going to cover it and allow to cook for extra 2 minutes because mackerel fish and shrimp does not really waste time to cook. I'm going to go in with my spinach at this point. Bitter leaf for me is just the perfect vegetable for egusi soup recipe. Please don't crucify me on the comment section. That is my own opinion or my own observation. But comment down below what is your favorite vegetable when making egusi soup recipe. Because like I said, I recently made bitter leaf soup. That is why I decided to use spinach just to get a different taste of vegetable in my pot of soup. So I'm just going to give it a good stir so that you will not see any chunk of vegetable or spinach lying on one side of the pot and the other side will be so scanty. So make sure you mix it really good. Have you tried cocoyam inside your egusi soup? Because a trial will convince you. This soup tasted super delicious. It was delicious. I'm not even kidding you. Just give it a try and come back and thank me. And at this point, my stove is at 2, which is simmering gently and quietly because you wouldn't want to cook the hell out of that vegetable. Cover and allow to simmer gently and it's ready. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have made it up to this point, you are the real G and I appreciate you. You can pair this soup with any African swallow of your choice. You can use semolina, eba, tuwo chinkafa, amala. You can also pair it with your white boiled rice. If you enjoyed this video or if you find it helpful, please kindly give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you all on my next video. Enjoy!